Welcome back to The Pulse. This is Joy News, and of course, this is your election headquarters. Now, the Electoral Commission of Ghana says its decision to allow political parties to monitor the ongoing voter transfer exercise will be based on condition. The management initially barred political parties from interfering in the ongoing process, arguing that their presence could breed chaos at the various designated centers. However, after a second consideration, the EC says the presence of the parties will only enhance transparency of the process, hence the U-turn. Dr. Shebo Kweku is Director of Electoral Services at the Electoral Commission.
As I was telling you, before the start of the transfer, we had a meeting with the political parties, and they requested that we should allow them to send agents to observe the exercise. We know as principles of the Commission, now one of the cardinal principles is transparency and also accountability. So we think that we have nothing to hide. So the presence of the parties will rather add to the transparency. So we give them the right to send the people there. But when they went there, we read that the parties were getting a lot of issues. Everything that the Electoral Commission does is backed by law. So we are expecting that if you have any issue, allow the law to work. So now that we read that the offices were becoming the battleground, then we had no option but to tell them that they should leave. So they left. We had another meeting on Monday, and the request was still there that they would think they should allow them to be there. So the Commission told them that we were going to have a look at it and ponder over it. Then after further reflection, we think that their presence will help in ensuring that people accept whatever comes up, and it also adds to the transparency aspect. So we told them that they should come back, but the condition is that anybody who comes there to misbehave will be taken away from the place.
Okay. So now what will be the expectation? Are they to monitor, to challenge immediately, or what ground rules are you setting for that?
There is no criteria for challenging. So you only observe. If somebody comes and you think you can inform our officer that this one you think, but not in a violent way. If the person insists, we'll go ahead and interview the person based on the conviction of the return officer. The person will be accepted or rejected.
So
now, you can't challenge. Now, the law is that if the transfer is done and you have grievances or you have suspicion that somebody didn't qualify you there, then you will do the exhibition. Then you go and object to that name in that register that the person is not a resident there. Then the procedure is that there's a registration review officer who is a magistrate who will meet the two parties. Each of them will tell the story. Then the DRO would give a decision.
So which means that the parties don't have any power to stop anyone who's carrying out?
Not at all. Not at all.
Is that really
not at all. They don't have any power. Even registration, they don't have power. The only thing that they say they can challenge. But here they don't have any power to challenge. What they can do is take records of whatever their grievances are. Then during the exhibition, they can object to their names. It's the same as having objected to their names and challenge their names, and the procedure will be done such a way that the officer, this registration review officer, who is a magistrate, will now adjudicate on the case, and his decision will be binding on the Commission. But they have no power to challenge anybody applying.
Based on that, the opposition NDC says they still have a challenge. They feel that there's more room for improvement in terms of improving your transparency. They feel that you lack transparency in all of the processes leading to the 2024 general elections. How do you respond to that?
You know, each of the activities we are doing, they are part of it. Registration, they were there as agent. When the challenges came and the review committee was sitting, they were part of the committee that sat on it and then they're adjudicating. Right now, we have formed the adjudication review committee, which will look at the suspected multipolies, and they are part of it. So in everything that we are doing, they are part of it. So I don't know how they want to explain the transparency when they are part of the system. So we have nothing to hide. That's why in everything we include all the political parties.
I want us to wrap up by talking about what's next for the Electoral Commission after this phase of the transfer of votes. What would happen? What's your expectation of the political parties? And what do you also say to the concerns, for instance, by the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, who have earlier raised some concerns about this transfer process?
I don't know. What I know is that they are rather supporting our stand that we should not allow the party agents to be there. Other than that, I've not heard of any other view. Then with respect to what is ahead of it after this, from this we'll go to the compilation of the special voting for the media, the security services, and the commission. Then we'll do exhibition. Then nomination will follow in September. Then we'll prepare for the election.
Is there anything special about the nomination process? Anything changing?
Nothing has changed. That whoever wants to contest the presidential one will have to deposit 10,000. The presidential, that's 100,000. As was done in 2020, we are not changing anything.
What room do you have for political parties which licenses were revoked? Can they still present candidates?
No, you cannot present anybody in the name of the party because that party doesn't exist.
So the option is?
The option is that there are no parties by those names, 11 parties. They don't have any name. So it's like no party existing.
We've seen some new faces come on board, the New Force and also Movement for Change. Have these people registered with the EC? And if they feel their candidates, will you accept their nomination?
To the best of my knowledge, we have not certified any party since 2020. So that's why. But there are a lot of applications that are being processed. But for now, since 2020, we have not certified any political party.
Dr. Kweku, any message to Ghanaians who are watching us?
What I would tell them is that election is based on law. So everything that anybody wants to do should look at what the law is saying and apply the law. We shouldn't use our brute force to force people to do or not to do whatever the law is allowing. We should go with a procedure. If you have any challenge, there's a procedure that you can challenge or object to the person's inclusion, whatever. So let's respect the law and apply the law.
Right, so in the last few days, we've engaged the NDC and MPP on this. Now, how do other political parties take this development? Joining us now is Dr. Ramsey Yunusa. Dr. Ramsey Yunusa, you're welcome.
Thank you, Erastus.
So, are you also monitoring like the MPP and NDC are doing?
Very well. Last 2 weeks, the leader and the founder of the Movement for Change, Honorable Alan Kojo Tremantin, visited the EC Registration Center situated at the University of Ghana,
right,
which is in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. And he interacted with the EC officials and also observed the process, the registration process. And I think that we were very pleased with the process. However, in terms of the issue of chaos, we didn't see any chaos there. But however, we realized that the process was a bit cumbersome. It was a bit tiring for the students. The queues were quite long because it was one center that was
taking care of almost everybody.
Everybody there. And the EC chairperson also promised of generators for every registration center, but unfortunately, we didn't witness that. And so if they're listening, I hope that they would adhere to that promise in this just limited voter transfer.
I know that the EC has restricted this to their district offices. There's been calls coming from the MPP parliamentary candidate in the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. Same call is backed by the NDC candidate, John Dumelo. They want the EC to set up a transfer center at the University of Ghana campus so that it can facilitate the transfer. I don't know whether, because you raised the issue of Ayawaso West Wuogon, whether you will support this call.
I concur to that. And Rasus, you know, Elton, sorry. We need to decentralize the process. We need to ensure that people have access, easy access to the registration centers. And so when you center it at the district office, it becomes a burden on a lot of Ghanaians because people have to travel tens or 20s of kilometers to make sure that they get registered or transfer their votes. And in a way, indirectly, it would disenfranchise some of the voters. And so I think that the EC should look into this because a lot of people, that's why you realize that political parties are busing people, you understand, to district offices to go and register and transfer their votes. And I think that if we do it in a decentralized manner, right, it would enhance the efficiency and the smooth running of the process and would not see all these chaos that has plagued the process since its inception.
But generally, I mean, you've been observing, because you are a stakeholder in the upcoming election, I mean, you've been observing the work of the Electoral Commission. I mean, they started with the limited voter registration, and they are doing transfer. After limited voter registration, the EC says that if identify 13,000 names that they want to investigate, whether they deserve to be on the roll or taken out, and possibly prosecute them. So far, are you satisfied with the way the EC is progressing?
Elton, I am not. To be very honest, I am not. And I'm not surprised of this phenomenon because we've witnessed this phenomenon for, I would say, the past almost 32 years now, since the inception of our Fourth Republic. And that is why one of the themes underpinning the movement for change is that we need to move away from the duopoly of the MPP and the NDC and form a government of national unity and build consensus among Ghanaians to ensure that we have adequate constitutional reform.
Right.
Because all these challenges we are facing currently in Ghana is as a result of certain flaws in the constitution, which gives optimum and absolute power to one person. And you realize that in discharging the duty, especially the president, who has, under Article 70 of the 1992 Constitution, he has the sole mandate to appoint the EC chairperson and then other commissioners of the EC.
Right.
And you realize that from NDC and MPP, they always appoint persons that are in bed with them. Right? And so the EC is supposed to be an independent constitutional body, which, I mean, if you have a president who is from a political party appointing certain people in the EC to lead the commission, I think that it raises a lot of eyebrows. And that is why we're plagued with a lot of chaos and mistrust in the processes that has resulted in even someone being stabbed a couple of days ago in the ongoing exercise.
You don't think the EC has been transparent and open in the way it's done its work?
I take exception to that.
I take exception to that.
Yeah, I don't think so.
There's also the concern that, I mean, depending on where you stand, if your party is not in power, you will find reason to discredit the EC in every step.
But, Elton, some figures who uphold the office of the EC were known patrons of the New Patriotic Party. You know that for a fact, right? And if you have people that have held these positions and now taken to an independent constitutional body to ensure that they conduct elections in a fair and transparent manner, there will be some form of doubts in the discharge of their duties because they were once part of that same political party that is in power. And that is why we are saying that we need to amend Article 70. That would not give the president the sole mandate to appoint the EC commissioner or the commissioners of the EC, but Parliament
should lead us.
Yes, Parliament should do that.
Parliament made up of representatives for political parties.
And I'm coming to that. So under the great transformational plan of the visionary leader, Honorable Alan Kodo Tramartin, Ghana currently runs a unicameral parliamentary system. And he wants to propose a second chamber, which is a bicameral parliamentary system. He wants Ghana to transform into a bicameral parliamentary system where we would have non-state actors, non-political actors, our chiefs, faith-based organizations, and industry captains come on board and form this chamber so that they also have that legislative power to be able to make sure that they cross-check the processes of the first chamber and also approve these appointees.
These are some of the fine proposals that you have.
Yes.
And you've been touring the country. How is this message received?
You know, Elton, Ghanaians are tired of the duopoly of the MPP and NDC. And it's a fact. I grew up in this country. I mean, I'm a young person. And my whole dream was that, when I become old here, I would realize my dreams and achieve my potential. But unfortunately, the system that has been created by the duopoly of the MPP and the NDC is killing and draining the potential of so many Ghanaian youths. And it's time the youth of Ghana rise up to the occasion to break this duopoly so that we can form a government of national unity that has the people at heart and would leapfrog Ghana from poverty to prosperity. And that is what the movement for change is about.
Right. Before I let you go, so few issues. So upcoming elections, Alan Shamaji obviously going to contest as an independent candidate.
Yes.
I mean, I've been meaning to ask this question. I mean, for those who want to perhaps go to Parliament on the ticket of the movement, is there a plan like that?
So if you believe in the great transformational plan, which is the ultimate plan that would leapfrog Ghana from poverty to prosperity, and you want to align with our Alliance for Revolutionary Change, because you know we have an amalgamation of small parties and individuals that have joined the ARC to fight, to wrestle power between these two dominant parties, the MPP and the NDC. You are welcome. And this is a movement for Ghana.
Right.
This is a movement that will restore Ghana back to its golden days, the days of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. You understand? And we would have Ghana placed in a better place in the world so that no one will look down upon us. If you look at the current economic woes that we're plagued with, Elton, it's not going well for us. FDIs have been the lowest in 6 years under this regime.
Right.
The cedi is at a free fall, depreciating day by day, and there is no substantive solution that has been proposed by this government, and they failed woefully. And this is the time Ghanaians have to realize that for us to achieve optimum social and economic development, we have to move away from the duopoly of the MPP and the NDC.
We'll see how that pans out with the movement for change, movement for Ghana, of course.
Absolutely.
Yes, so that's been Dr. Ramsey from the movement.